Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I am really, really delighted that you could be with us today, my dear friends. Because this week, our Seek Reality guest, almost by acclamation, I've got to say, is for the fifth time Brandy Gillmore. After all, here we are seeking reality together, and Brandy brings us here one of those stories that is almost impossible to believe, even though it's true. When doctors had given up on this beautiful, wonderful woman and told her, this was going to be her life, she had had an accident, she was in pain, she was in a wheelchair, and they basically said, okay, this is your life, my dear. You're going to have to figure out how to live it. She didn't give up on herself. Instead, she decided that she was going to figure out how to heal herself, and heal herself she did. This again, I find this almost impossible to believe, and that's one reason. Even after I read her book, I found it almost impossible to believe. But you're going to get to see her again and hear her story again. She read, she did research, and then she found something that worked. And Brandy healed herself. I still can't believe this, but it's true. She did it, and in 2015, she was able finally to demonstrate in real time how she did it. She showed doctors you're using thermal medical imaging. I still can't believe this. In real time, she showed doctors how she had done it, and she was invited then to deliver a TEDx talk, which was a major, major triumph, a pivotal moment for her. I still can't believe any of this, but it's true. And she continues to demonstrate, even today, amazing healing results using medical thermal imaging. And she demonstrates her results as well in her own podcast, which is called Heal Yourself, Change Your Life. And you don't have to, by the way, drive yourself off the road writing this stuff down because I'm going to give you all these links in the notes to this podcast. Her book, which is wonderful, is called Master Your Mind and Energy to Heal Your Body. And it's a must read, especially if you have any health issues. You can use what she has used to heal herself to also heal yourself. The plain fact is that our minds really do possess an extraordinary ability to heal our bodies that is way far beyond any placebo effect. Brandy's body is whole, healed and perfect again. Her book is, as I say, it's a must read. I couldn't believe it, but I've read it twice and I believe it. It's true. Brandy is her own best demonstration of the fact that her techniques really work, and she has been teaching now and demonstrating for the past decade that it works. It provides a simple, step-by-step process that helps everyone understand how we all can access this hidden healing potential of our own minds. My dear Brandy, you are one of my biggest heroes. It's great to have you back with us today.
Roberta, it is so wonderful to be here with you. I just absolutely adore you. And I love what you said about feeling like, I just can't believe this, right? And you're like, because that is exactly how I felt. Number one, first, about even healing with the mind in general. I kept, like, even during my injury, I thought, you know what? I had an accident, I had an injury. So I used to do network engineering and operations prior to my injury. And so the idea of healing with the mind felt woo woo and impossible. And of course, this is, 20, over 20 years ago now that I had this injury and started looking at the power of the mind. But there were so many, quote, impossible things. And one that really stood out to me was the awareness that people with multiple personality disorder could have different illnesses and different personalities. Like there was even this medical journal of a woman who was blind in some personalities and not in others. And it was like unbelievable. But even to your point, when you said, it's just hard to believe, it's so hard to like, it's hard to, that is exactly. So after I healed myself, I thought people are going to think this is impossible. And that's what actually drove me to show it under medical equipment, to show the power of the mind, to get it published in a medical journal. So it's a peer reviewed medical journal. So people could actually see it, is because,
Yeah,
you know what? We as human beings have a hard time believing we're so amazing. You know what I mean? Like, wait,
exactly.
we can do this? What?
Yep,
Yeah, we can.
exactly. Exactly.
And
No, it is so wonderful that you are so eager to prove it, to show it, to make it part of our medical knowledge.
yeah, and I would say part of that is because I was the biggest skeptic. I remember when I went to go start healing with my mind. At first I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, and I didn't do it because I thought I was going to work. I did it because I was desperate and had tried everything else. I did the diet, the supplement, the cleanses, the detox, the Reiki, the energy. Like, I went further and further and further, the nerve ablations, the infusions, the injections, the trial study, the da, 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 da. I mean, you name it. I was like, I don't care where the answer comes from. I just want to heal. Now, what was fascinating was this, is that at the time, the idea that emotions could affect the physical body, again, we're, 20 years ago now, it seemed like, okay, well, that's ridiculous. Emotions, like, they can't affect me to this point. But when I started really looking at emotions, the fact that somebody can die of a broken heart, where they can literally, have with broken heart syndrome, when somebody loses a loved one, then they can die, or even a senior who loses a spouse has a much higher rate of death, or even somebody who's scared to death. Somebody can be so scared, their heart stops. And we look at it and go, wow, actually, emotions really can affect us. And we've all heard, emotions can affect the immune system and whatnot. So it's really about understanding the depth of how it works and implementing it to get results. And it's mind-blowing what we're capable of.
It is. And the more we have studied these kinds of facts from every direction, the more we understand A, consciousness is really all that exists, and B, it is governed by emotion.
Well said, because there's a couple things. Our emotions shift our energy, our
Yep,
biophotons, our
that's
energy. Well,
right.
and so not only do our emotions shift our energy, but when we look in consciousness, a lot of times people will just think of consciousness and they think of, you know, uh, maybe, opening your consciousness to this thing, or expanding your mindset or energy or whatnot. But if we also look at consciousness in a very grounded way,
Right.
emotions control our consciousness too,
Completely.
right? And
Absolutely, completely.
a simple way we can put it is like this: is if somebody's really, 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 really in love, what do they see in a person? All of the good, all of the wonderful, wonderful things. And if somebody's really, really angry at a person, what do they see?
Yeah.
All of the negative. Now, they don't do it on purpose. They don't say, okay, mind, I love this person. Just show me the good. Okay, mind, I'm angry at this person. Just show me the bad. But it happens. Our minds do that. But the same happens with fear or with hurt. Or, an example I use all the time is, a woman who grew up with an alcoholic father, maybe leaves him and finds the abusive boyfriend, boss, spouse, etc. That pattern can unfortunately continue.
That's right.
We can look at in that in psychology, but what can happen is she might say, well, all men are abusive alcoholics. Men are just this way. Men are that way. So then we start to see in a certain way because we've experienced it. Now, what I love, what you said, is when we start to look at it, I mean, when we really look at the big picture, we're all on the side of a planet. We're on the side. It doesn't feel like when we drive a car, we're driving up the side of a planet. It doesn't feel like we're
Up the planet or down the planet.
down or down the planet.
Or
Let me
we're at the
drive down the
bottom of it,
planet,
right?
right? Let me go down to the planet to my kitchen. Let me go up the planet to my bedroom. Like, we're on this side. So when we look at it, it really all is. And does it feel like we're spinning to you and rotating around the sun? It it doesn't. And yet that's exactly what's happening. And so
Right.
there is a whole consciousness. And so it is shifting our consciousness, but also grounding it and shifting it and becoming aware that as we really change, we change our life, but we have to change what we're seeing. We have to change how we're feeling. to really create these changes also.
Now, what was it that you discovered that that put you on the right path toward discovering how to heal yourself?
Multiple things. I would say one thing was this. One thing was looking at everything objectively. So once I found multiple personality disorder, so I would say that was one breakthrough because
I remember this from the last time we talked. Yeah,
it
that
was,
kind of brings you up short, doesn't it?
yeah, well, part of the reason was this. What was key is number one, I had been meditating for years by then. And I was trying every type of meditation because one wasn't working. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do recorded meditation. Then I'm going to do silent meditation. Then I'll follow it up by binaural beats meditation. Then I'll follow it up by like, so I was like,
Poor
okay, I had a
thing,
whole cocktail
honestly.
of meditations that I would listen to because I was like, if one of them works, I'm going to get the right one. I'll do all of them.
Yes, right.
And so, and then, and I was doing that and then affirmation, like all of the things for
Oh,
years. And it wasn't working. Now, there was a few things that really came to light. Um, One was this, was when I, like, at first I thought, okay, well, you just need to relax the vagus nerve. You just need to get the body to relax and it will heal itself. But I had this experience during my injury that there was somebody I knew was dying from lung cancer. And a friend called me up and she said, do you want to go say goodbye to so and so, and say your final. And so she came and picked me up and we went and said goodbye. And I remember seeing there, and she had been in hospice for over a month and she was in a deep, relaxed state. And part of what clicked in my mind is I thought, gosh, that's kind of what I look like during the day when I'm doing all this meditation and relaxation. And if relaxation was so healing, why hasn't she healed? And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. So that was one thing. I'm just like going, well, wait a second. Then another thing was that I started looking at, I said, okay, well, if stress affects the physical body, then I'm going to look, and we know emotions affect the physical body. It's proven, somebody can be stressed and it affects their immune system. Research has shown that. We know that. And I said, okay, well, wait a second. If I look at this objectively, then theoretically, if somebody's really stressed or has PTSD or trauma, they should be very sick. But there are people who have PTSD and trauma who aren't sick. I said, well, wait a second. How does that work? If we know that both are true, that stress affects the physical body and somebody can be extremely stressed and not sick, how does that work? And what I began to figure out was that it takes a combination of emotions. So it's the key. And so the example that I use all the time is that if somebody wants to make flour and they have cake, they can't make flour. But if they mix it with eggs and butter, vegan eggs and butter and other ingredients and whatnot, now they can make cake. And if they change the recipe, now they make something else. Now, of course, illness is not cake, but my point is different emotional ingredients equate to something different in the physical body. And that was a huge breakthrough. And so that was another one. But the reason that multiple personality was also a huge breakthrough was also because different personalities could have different illnesses and they could change in a minute. And so since I had been meditating for years and years and years and years and years, the idea of getting results really fast was enticing. It was like, hey, I, I could get results faster if I just get another personality. Like that's what I was like, okay, I need another personality who's healed. Now, and by the way, I have complete compassion for anybody with multiple personality disorder. I don't want to make light of it. But in my situation, that's exactly what I was thinking. Now, another thing that was very insightful was this, was that each personality could have a different illness and it was consistent. So in other words, let's say, for example, Sam had multiple personalities, which of course he doesn't, but let's say Sam did. Sam was sometimes
Yeah.
Sam. I love Sam. I love Sam. Sam, you make everything happen wonderful. So Sam is the wonderful man who helps run the show. But anyway, so for everybody who already knows, I'm sure. But let's say Sam was like Sam, and then in one personality he's Bob, and then another personality he's Joe or whatnot, and not
Right.
using, but using somebody else. One personality could be completely healthy, while another personality could have an illness, and another personality could have a different illness. And it was consistent. And
Yes.
so I thought, well, then it has to be the consistent mindset. And so it made me wonder what was consistent with the mindset. Now, of course, Sam only has one personality that's consistently sweet. So thank you, Sam.
Yes,
But
him is our wonderful engineer here. I think everybody does know that by now.
yes, so it was just lovely. But my point is that because it was consistent with the mindset. So really, if somebody has the same personality and the same illness, and then they're in a different personality and it's a different illness, and then a different personality, it's a different illness, and they go back to the other one and it's the same, it shows you that the mindset is key. And so that was huge for just understanding
Yeah,
how
that is a big insight. It really is. It's tied to the mind. The illness is tied to the mind.
exactly. And further, it's also interesting the medical research that I mentioned of the woman who was medically blind in some personalities but not others.
Yeah.
It was shown medical tests and whatnot. But as she started healing other personalities, she started gaining her sight back in more and more and more personalities.
Wow.
And so what we are capable of is just incredible. And so not only so that's why I love that you said it just feels impossible, because that's exactly what I would have felt. And so after I healed, I never thought I was going to be doing this. I never said after I healed, I thought, okay, I'm going to go back to technology and telecommunications. And
Because I'm all better.
yeah, but yeah,
But it was about yourself.
no. And I was like, I'm going to give all this information to my doctors so they can use it to go heal other people. Because I wasn't thinking, I mean, this is, years ago. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to do this now.
You
So
thought so much more of doctors than than they deserved, really, because they just don't think that way at all.
yeah, that's the thing. I went in to go see my doctor, and a lovely, lovely, lovely being. And I went in and I was like, and I thought he was going to ask me what I did. And instead he was like, look at you. Great. Fantastic. Never even said, what did you do? Like, he was just like,
Right.
wow, he was shocked. And he was like, oh my gosh. And then, but in his defense, because I always want to be fair, I didn't make an appointment. I went in and I just saw him. And also was always late. So I'm sure he was like, oh my, and then went into like, all right, gotta go, bye.
I see, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, but this is the thing is, I wouldn't have believed that somebody could heal with the mind. Either way, I'm not sad about it, because what happened is then I was like, I'm going to have to show people. So I never even thought, I never thought I'm going to start doing this. I thought, okay, well, I have to show people, and then I'm going to give them the data, and then they'll know how to do it. So then I went on this journey. I was like, okay, I got to show people. All right, let me show people how to start releasing pain. And then I did that. And then I was asked to start speaking on stages. And so then I would take people from the audience who were in pain, and I would take them out of pain and show them how to get out of pain. And then I thought one time as I was standing on stage, standing there, and I had just taken people from the audience who were in pain, neck pain, back pain, and I showed them how to release it. And I had this thought. I thought, because I was showing it and it worked. And I thought, someday somebody's going to think, that's fake. That person's just a plant, a fake that says, oh, my neck's pain is gone. So after that, I thought, I have to figure out how to do it under medical equipment. And that's what made me want to start using then thermography and medical thermography. And for anybody who's not familiar with medical thermal imaging or medical thermography, what it is just like the name is thermography. So it's heat, thermal, so heat from the body. And what it does is it picks up on any heat signatures that come from pain or illness or infection. So just like if somebody's got a fever,
So you can
there's
prove whether that person really is not any longer in pain.
exactly,
Wow. See, to
exactly.
me, this is so huge. But I know that, you'd have to beat them over the head with a mallet. And
That
they
still
still,
wouldn't help. That still wouldn't help. I mean, we could try
that
it.
still
No,
wouldn't
we could
help.
try
I
it.
love
We could
it.
try it, but
I love I know, but see, I'm so infuriated at these people
But
who
but
still
wait a sec, but
don't
wait a
get
sec,
it.
that's not good for your health. This is the thing, is you know why I'm not infuriated at them? Because I wouldn't have believed it either. And like I literally, if somebody told me they healed with the mind, I would have thought that they were Fruit Loops a long time ago.
But their job is to heal. And
Yeah,
they are
but
so ingrained with materialism,
but
my
can I tell you the
husband, that
truth?
they
But
still don't want to believe that there's this whole world of truth
but can
that
I tell
they,
you the truth though?
what?
This is the thing. This is the problem. Is it all of the time I work with people go through my classes and my workshops who have been on the healing journey for 10, 20, 30, 40 years and still haven't healed themselves, right? And then they come in and I show them how to get results. They'll have been struggling with pain for years and I go, "Oh, well, this is what you need to do." And they get out of pain and they go, "Oh my gosh." So the problem is that there there are so many misconceptions on how it works that then people get stuck. And that's the problem, is that we have to really realize that. So what I would say is part of the thing is like, even for me, for example, I mean, I was meditating for over 6 years and doing all of the things and the systems and all of the top systems of listening to, and I won't name them because I don't want to speak poorly about them, but all of the top name systems, I was using them. I was trying them. I was doing them. This system, that system, none of it was working. And so that's what made me say, okay, let me look at the medical, like what else? And that's what made me find um, the multiple personality disorder. And then I thought, well, wait a second here. And then not only that, but I was doing, like, you've heard before that different mind states, like, oh, if you're in alpha or in theta state or delta state, the body will heal. So I was like all about theta, staying in theta state. That's when I went and saw the friend who was in hospice, who I went to go say bye to. And I was like, wait a second, this theta state, if it was so healing, she would be healed. Why have I been sitting here in theta state trying to just, so there's so many misconceptions. And that's the problem, is a lot of times people just make stuff up, like on how to heal, and they just go, but they don't put logic behind it that really says, okay, how do we really get results? Even the placebo, if you think about it, most placebo results, why somebody can have a change in symptoms, they're not typically lasting or healing. And so to heal, we have to really address the subconscious mind at a deeper level. And so, kind of like this, if we think about the Bible literally says, it says, a merry heart is a medicine. Ill thoughts will dry the bones. And then sometimes people will go, well, God is just going to heal me. And it's like, okay, but notice even in the Bible, it says a merry heart is a medicine. Ill thoughts will dry the bones. So we have to do something. We have to participate in this, you
Yes.
know? And so I would say that the reason that I don't get angry or upset about all of this stuff is because that's why it's like a prove it thing. It's like, okay, let me show it. Okay, let me prove it. Okay, let me show you under medical equipment. And that's,
But
you
my
know,
darling, these people are supposed to be healers. They are supposed to see you do this and demonstrate it under these with these magic thermal machines. Oh, you have proven this works with the super magic thermal machine, my machine, and I'm a magic doctor. I had better take this more seriously.
this is what's great is I had, like, how a lot, like, even with my book, Dr. Perlmutter endorsed my book. I've had multiple doctors who have endorsed my work, endorsed my book, and stuff like that. So it's kind of like this.
They
This is
all
how I
should.
look at it. What's that?
They all should. But,
Yeah.
but see, I've spent my entire life dealing with materialist scientists
Mhm.
who refuse the evidence for the greater reality, which is all around us. Now, this is a narrower variation of the same problem.
Yeah, but
That any of them listen to you is a miracle to me. But the
and
fact that they
that's,
do is exciting. It's
yeah,
exciting.
and it's real results. But this is the thing also, kind of to your point. I was speaking at an event recently, and there was this doctor person next to me who
Dr.
was saying,
Person.
doctor person, I never speak poorly about anybody, so I just want to say this person uh who was next to me speaking on something also, and basically as I was sharing stuff, he was saying, yes, pain is all happening in your head, etc. Now I know with nociceptors and whatnot, yes, pain registers in the mind, but my point is that even when it comes to pain and releasing pain, a lot of people, this is what they try to do for healing. They say, you just tell yourself it's not real. You just tell yourself it's not real. And doctors have endorsed this idea of just telling yourself that the pain isn't real and it's just an overreaction from the body and it's a facade and all of those things. And so that's part of the problem, is there's just a lot of misconceptions. So what I take it back to is I say, well, let's go back to emotions for a moment. Emotions affecting the physical body is not a facade. If somebody's embarrassed, their face turns red, it's not a facade, it's actually happening. If somebody has panic and anxiety, it can create a panic attack. That's not a facade. It's not a fake story. It's actually really happening. If somebody dies of a broken heart, it's not that just perception that they're dying. They can actually die of a broken
Yes,
heart. So
it
then
truly can happen, right?
they didn't like just die in perception. Like, yes, and yes, of course, life is also an illusion, et cetera, et cetera. But my point is their physical body can actually die from that. And so this doctor person was like, huh. He was kind of like, so my point is that the part of the problem is there are so many misconceptions of things that are just being that aren't rooted in logic. You know what I mean? And aren't grounded, and that um that don't make logical sense. You know what I mean? And
Yes. Oh,
so
yes.
that's why even when I did like the studies under medical equipment, it was showing there was an actual biological change, like there are actual changes taking place where somebody can actually have a change of a physical change where the heat is actually going away from the actual thing, from only their mind. And so you could see the difference. And that's, I think, yeah, I think it's yeah, something I compare it to is like this is, everybody used to think the world was flat. And if you told them otherwise, they were not happy about them. People get hung for saying, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And they were adamant the world is flat and it's not like round, and so I just think that some people are really, really, really set in their ways. They believe and they see what they want to see. You can't change them, and they're stuck. But I think that's why what we need is this. So after I healed myself, I said, we need two specific things to change healthcare. Number one, what we need is we need people to get real results. We need people to get real results, not meditating for years and not getting results, not positive, but real, tangible medical results. We can see the difference. So that's one thing. And then we need people to understand how they did it. Okay. Because of course,
Yes.
there's,
I think that's very important. Yep.
yes, because let's be honest, spontaneous remission can even happen where somebody experiences spontaneous remission, in which case
Yes.
they did something, but they don't know that they did it, right? Which you can't say, okay, well, but I would say even in spontaneous remission, what is happening? Somebody has a major change of heart. Something happens. They really feel differently. Maybe they had a huge forgiveness, or maybe they suddenly let go of fear of something and they said, you know what, so when we really change, that's what's key. And so that's the piece is that, yeah, I agree with you. A lot of people are stuck, and I think that their minds are also incentivized in the wrong direction. um and so the mind see what it wants to see, and it's afraid to see otherwise. But I think that the more we just get results, and we know why we did it, we have those two things, and more people do it. That's how we make a change. And that's something that also drives me. Research says that it takes approximately 20 to 25% of a population to start thinking in a certain way where it creates the tipping point. That's the scale of where research says that's a tipping point of a cultural change, 20 to 25%. Now, part of the problem is this, is more and more people are waking up to the power of the mind. But number one, a lot of people aren't really getting the results because they're just stuck with, meditation or whatnot. And not to say anything bad about meditation, we just have to go beyond that. Like if we think about Steve Jobs for a moment, I mean, Steve Jobs meditated since he was a teenager. That didn't stop him from getting cancer. It didn't heal him. And so we can see that all around. Myself, I see it all of the time with people. So we need to, and nothing bad about meditation. We just need to go beyond it. And so my point is,
And talk about your healing. How did you know what you were doing was working? I mean, you were in a wheelchair. I've seen the pictures.
I was in a wheelchair. I was a cane walker. I was a mess. I was like the size. I was like my legs were like the same size as my arms. I was tiny. And how did I know? Because as I started shifting my mindset and figuring it out, I could get my pain down. And then it would come back up. And then so it was really about going, okay, let me figure this out. So it was really a troubleshooting process. Now, I would say something that helped me out a lot was that when I worked in technology, what I did was troubleshooting. That's all I did all day, was troubleshooting networks. So I was very good at it. So anytime something was broken on a network and people couldn't figure it out, it would go to second level, advanced, all of that. They would say, okay, look, give it to Brandy. And I would figure out all these things. So
So you were troubleshooting your body, really.
exactly. It's funny how universe works, because I went from troubleshooting telecommunication networks to then troubleshooting the network of my body. Mm-hmm.
And so you just gradually felt you were getting stronger. You were more able to stand, more able to.
Yes. So I started being able to get my pain down. But then what would also happen is then if I got triggered, it would go back up. So then I would go, well, wait a second here. What was that trigger? And then I would understand. So I would understand, oh, this is what triggered me. Okay, let me get rid of that. Okay, the pain can go down. So I started understanding what triggers that I had that I didn't consciously realize that I had. So that was part of it. I also started really looking at the body in a logical way and saying, okay, well, it was so much. I mean, what I started realizing was I said, okay, well, if somebody's embarrassed, their face turns red, right?
Mhm.
Okay, panic attack, racing heart, shortness of breath. I said, okay, well, if different emotions affect the body in a different way, what are the specific emotions that are affecting me? Now, part of the way that I actually also came up with this is as I was researching everything that I could find, I came across the work of Louise Hay. And she talks about different emotions affect the body in a different way. And also Florence Scovel Shinn. So that's where she initially got her work. Now, I love Louise Hay. I think she's fantastic, loved her, fantastic and wonderful. But what I found didn't necessarily align with the same mind body connections as she had. But my point is, it got me thinking in a certain way that said, what emotion is affecting the physical body? And then not only that, but then when I started understanding multiple personality disorder and then the combination. So I started going, okay, well, what specific emotion? And then, by the way, what combination? And so when I started, and then when I started putting all the pieces together, I started realizing what I needed to do. And so it became a shift, a huge change. But I would say that understanding the triggers, understanding there's multiple ingredients, because that can be tricky in and of itself. If there's multiple different emotions that can affect your body, when you have that awareness, then you go, okay, great. Now that I have this awareness, I can just address the multiple things. But when you don't, this is what happens. You go, well, this triggered me. Well, now it was this. Well, now it was this. And you
Yeah,
think there is no rhyme or reason.
yeah,
But
that's
then
right.
So when you think there is no rhyme or reason, it's stress in general. This happened, okay, it was a trigger. This happened, it was a trigger. But then when you go, okay, there's multiple specific emotions, then you go, okay, here's one pattern. Okay, that's one emotional ingredient. Okay, here's another emotional ingredient. Okay, and now you just realize that there are multiple ingredients. Now you get rid of the ingredients. Now you're empowered. But when you think it just happens for no rhyme or reason, it can be any stress at all. It makes you want to live in a bubble.
Yeah.
So the more you kind of like wrap your mind around the clarity of it, then you go, okay, now I can get on top of this. Right. And so that. And then I would say another thing that I did that was really, really helpful was going beyond positive thinking. You know, we hear positive thinking all of the time. And one thing is really about repatterning the mind. So when we repattern the mind, that is a key. And a simple way to think about it is like this. Instead of feeling, it's kind of like our minds work in patterns, right? You know that, right? We have a pattern of hurt or a pattern of rejection, or the woman with the abusive father can have a pattern. So our minds work in patterns. And so instead of just going positive thinking, where we're thinking in a positive way, we say, okay, let me do positive repatterning. How do I repattern the positive in? And I would say that was another thing, just thinking in terms of neural pathways and establishing positive neural pathways and going beyond just, positive thinking. So just breaking everything down to logic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it seems like a big task, but you help people now to do this for themselves.
I do. I do. And the beautiful thing is that it all makes sense. It's kind of like this. How often do you hear people just bringing in gratitude? We hear that all of the time where people go, okay, well, just bringing gratitude, just bringing gratitude. Well, in my situation, I had survivor's guilt from 9/11, which part of what was affecting me. So now imagine for a moment if I'm like, I'm so grateful for my life. If I have survivor's guilt, that's going to do what? Backfire. Now, a lot of people have guilt or shame or undeserving or self punishment. And then they go to I'm going to bring in all the gratitude, and it's actually triggering them. Or they try to bring in gratitude and then they don't really feel it. So they're like, okay, well, at least I'm grateful for my shoes and I'm grateful for these walls. And they're trying to feel it and then they're not. So then they feel what? Guilty for not actually feeling grateful and like a bad person for not feeling grateful. So
Yeah.
there's
Then they feel survivor's shame for having been one of the lucky ones. Yeah.
there's so we just have to really be real with what's real and address what's going on in our minds, be specific, identify it, and really change it. And that's the key.
But when you're able to meet with people and help people, people do have the same kind of miraculous recovery that you had, because that
Yeah.
seems quite amazing.
That's the reason that I have my podcast where I literally take people and I show them how to release pain live on my podcast. And I also I have classes that I do where I'll do like a jump in like a 2 hour workshop where I'll take volunteers in it and show them how to release the pain and then explain to them and give them tools and techniques that they can start using to actually do those very things. And I have a video course where people go through it on them for themselves and do it. I mean, that's the thing is that, and that's why I also love what you do. That's the reason I keep coming back. I love your heart that you genuinely want people to live a better life. You genuinely from your heart. And that's the reason that every time we connect, I'm like, you know what? I just love you. Our hearts align. And so in the same thing in these classes, I want people to understand how to do it, or video course. I want people to understand how to do it, because the more that every single person in our life can heal and in our world can heal and be happy and healthy and loved and empowered, the better this world is for all of us. It's beautiful.
But that's why we want you to keep coming back. There's a group of people, I won't say they're like you because they're all quite different, actually, even from one another, but they all have a similar path that they're on. they have something to teach and something that no one else really is teaching. And that's when every time that you come, and we'll put, you're going to send us the links to all of the things that you're doing, and we'll put those in your podcast information so people can reach you. And even years from now, when they hear your podcast, they can come to you because there are so many people who have unresolved pain issues and various kinds of suffering issues. And my
Yeah.
goodness.
The things that I see people heal themselves from RA, rheumatoid arthritis. I've seen people where their like blood work literally normalizes. I've seen people go from bedridden to running and flying all over the world, and not flying themselves, but in an airplane. Like people are flying. Next level.
Up in Mo's arms. Oh my goodness, wouldn't that be wonderful if you could do that?
Yes, not yet. Not that's next episode. Roberta, we're going there next time. We're gonna be
I would love it. Oh my goodness.
but really, I mean, just going from bedridden to traveling around the world and seeing and exploring and running and healthy and just saying, beyond pain, what we are all capable of is just it's amazing.
And there's one thing that I want people really to understand. The fact that you are 70, 75, 80, 85 doesn't mean that and the fact that you have pain at those ages, that's not natural. My
No,
husband right now is 85 years old. He takes long walks every day.
who was 85?
My husband.
uh
And he takes 8 long walks every day. There's no earthly reason that you can't do that.
okay, now wait a second. I hear that somebody's getting a tricycle.
Yeah, well, that's me. I've
That's
decided that I don't take those
amazing.
long walks. I don't feel I have the
No,
time
no.
to.
Yeah,
So I'm get
no,
out there
I'm
and
saying
turn
that's
around on
amazing.
my bike.
What a role model. What a role, getting out there and riding. And you have a birthday also. When's your birthday?
Yeah, yeah, but I'm only going to be, 40, so I'm not that old, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
many
get it.
people are.
I thought you were 41.
No, not yet. I'll
Oh,
get there soon, though.
my
I've
mistake.
been 40 for many years now, and I'm soon going to hit 41.
I,
But
I like that. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's just even you where you're like, I'm going to get a tricycle too. That's a great just and your husband out walking. I mean, it's just brilliant and it's beautiful. You're amazing.
but the thing is, we don't have to decide that because we've reached some age that we can't do things anymore. I'm just going to ride that tricycle till I'm 100. I don't even care because we need to get exercise. We need to get out in the air. Whatever you can do, you need to do it to the nth degree. And that's what we're going to do.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. You know what I've been playing lately is pickleball. And I have been just have you is it has the pickleball world taken over? It's like a spreading thing. It's
The thing is, we don't have, actually, there is in this neighborhood, there is, I understand, some sort of a court. But because I do so many things each week, I need to do something that will give me a lot of exercise in 20 minutes that I can do really quickly.
I get
So,
it.
I can't let myself like something like that because then I'll spend too much time doing it, and I don't really have the time to do that. So,
I get it. I get it. But I do make the time because what I love is that it makes me be very present. But yes, I get it. My schedule is also, I call it very wonderful. Uh,
I mean, if that's what you want
Full.
to do, I think
Yeah.
that's terrific.
Yes. I
I
hear you.
just think that the bicycle, because I can probably use it really fast.
Amazing. Yes.
That's probably good for
Absolutely.
me. And he loves to do his walking. He has all kinds of friends in this neighborhood that he's made just because he meets them when he's out walking.
How
But
sweet is that?
85, for heaven's sake. I mean, he was sure he would never even see that age, and he hadn't even slowed down. So good for him.
I love mindset, just happy. I mean, and he's got an amazing wife. Why wouldn't he be happy? They say happy wife, happy life.
And we have two of our children that live with us, and the third that lives close by. So I think that's really the secret for him. He interacts with young people who insist that he do things with them. I think that's very important too.
It is
Life
pulling
gets to
life.
be more wonderful the older you get. So, everyone listening, if you're only 65 or 70 or 75 or even only 80, don't stop now. I mean, the best is yet to come. It's the
Not
wonder.
only that, but I can tell you, I've worked with people who've had Parkinson's or all different types of things or whatnot, who've been able to then release it and get the shaking to stop and start lifting their arms and all like no matter what that's, but that, like you said, it's there's a mindset that people think like, oh, if I get older, I'm going to have sickness and pain and all of that. No,
You can decide to do that, and that you certainly will. But you also can decide you never will and be like my husband. You just never do. He never even slowed down, not yet. I don't
what
think
an,
he will.
I love that. How beautiful. How
Oh,
beautiful.
my dear friend, we've gone so much over time. I'm so sorry.
Oh, we have. Ooh, and we're a little bit running. Yes, we have. Okay. So, Roberta, it is always so, so lovely to connect with you. Just always. I absolutely adore you. I love your heart. I love that you just have this genuine love for people and this desire to want to make a difference and just your heart. I love it. And that's why, and your sense of humor. That's why I keep coming back. That too.
I love you so much, dear, as well. And we're going to have you back soon because I think the message you have to give is so, so important. And the work we want to promote you as much as we possibly can. So, big hug and stay right there. I just have to tell everyone who'll be with us next week. I'll be
Perfect.
right back. Oh, this is so wonderful. Oh my goodness. Everyone, I'm so sorry to tell you we've come to the end of our time. Brandy's website, by the way, is brandygillmore.com, and that will be in our notes as well. But once again, my beloved friends, we have come to the end of our time, and I just have time to tell you that this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm so happy you could be with us for this. Never forget, you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began, you never will end. When you get that, all the implications of that fact. You are eternal. It's going to change everything in your life for the better. Now, next week, we have another wonderful friend coming to join us. It'll be Brenda Rice. She is our guru of forgiveness and self-forgiveness, and she'll be here next week for the eighth time, and again, not for the last time. She has dedicated her life to helping people overcome obstacles that hold them back from living life to its fullest, she tells us, by guiding them through what she calls a special five-step forgiveness process. She says self-forgiveness helped her to transition out of victimhood and into the life she was meant to live. And now has a very successful self-forgiveness coaching practice. And she has written a great little book. It's teeny, actually. It's called Forgive Yourself. It's brief, so you can read it in one sitting, and I think everybody ought to read it. Brenda Rice is always a special treat for us, so please be sure to join us next week. And this week, we've had Brandy Gilmore with us, and as you can see, she's beautiful. I mean, the fact that she ever was in a wheelchair pains me. She's beautiful, and she healed herself, and she can help you to heal yourself and make this the first day of your life, not the last day of your life. Her book is wonderful. It's called Master Your Mind and Energy to Heal Your Body, and you can do that every bit as well as she did it. That's the amazing thing. I mean, she did this for herself. She taught doctors how to do it, and she could teach you how to do it too. And that's all I really have time to tell you, except that this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy, make the most of this coming week in our one reality, always knowing that you are a powerful, eternal being, and you, most of all in this entire universe, you are infinitely, eternally, and perfectly forever loved.